season of Lucas Live. My name is Lucas Tyndall. I'm excited to be here with you guys today. It is December 27th, 2022, I believe. December 27th, 2022, it is. I am your host, Lucas Tyndall. I am excited to be back with you guys. You guys have seen me on Lucas Live, Let's Talk Live, Lucas Live News, IGI Live. You guys may have seen me on many shows, but this is where it all started just a few years ago. And I want to thank everybody out there who's checking us out right now. And thank you all who have been following me through this entire journey. We are going to be heading into what would be our third year of Lucas Live here in 2023, which is coming up. And I'm extremely excited and grateful for everybody who has been along for the journey. Let me share this broadcast. If you're watching this live or by replay, you want to go to Facebook or YouTube or wherever you're coming to us from and share the broadcast. Okay, you want to share it so other people can see it. I'm here at Lucas Live Media, but I want to make sure I share it to my personal page so people can see it. Every time I do this, I'm like, I have to remember how to do it. So, I'm figuring it out again. What's up to my lovely wife, Kareem Marie? Hello, sweetie. How are you? Thank you for being here this evening. It is 7 p.m. Eastern, or whatever time it is for you, wherever you're coming to us from around the world. We're so glad you all are here. I got to share the broadcast. I have a great guest today. I'm excited about the guest today. This is my longest tenured friend. I don't know what tenured means really, but you know what I mean? It's been my friend for the greatest portion of my life. And he's not just on because he's a friend. He is on because he's a friend, but I didn't just bring my friend on so I could talk to my friend because I talk to my friend all the time. I brought him on because he's doing some great things in the community. He has some new things going on. A new beginning is actually about to start for him. And I'm extremely excited to be here to support him and talk about some of the things he's doing. But beyond what he's done in his community in the past, I want to talk about some things that are up and coming. It's going to be a great time. Hello to my sister, Janelle. Janelle Carpenter is Hubert's sister. She's a carpenter. Hubert Carpenter is our guest today. But she's my sister, too. We'll talk about that story as we go along, about how our families have blended over the years and how our friendship has grown. Shout out to my producer, Amanda Jean Dukes. Good evening. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for all your help and support and getting today up and running. I'm excited about season 3. Thank you so much. Tyler Thatcher, my man. This is my guy right here. Minister Tyler Thatcher, Coach Thatch. If you guys don't know him, get to know him. Check him out. Follow him. He's a great guy. He's wise beyond his years, they say. He's a great young man. So shout out to him. Thank you so much. Janelle said she shared. Did you guys share? Did you share the broadcast yet? If you haven't shared, hit share and share the broadcast because that's what we do, right? Share the broadcast so everybody can check us out. We appreciate that. We are live here on Facebook and YouTube here this evening. What's going on? Tasha Carpenter, my sister. Not my sister. What's the difference between sister and sister? Is she my sister or is she my sister? I think she's my sister. Like, we share parents. We do, because I'm a carpenter too. We'll talk about that. We're in there. Shamika, what's going on? Mika is in the building. Shamika Johnson, thank you so much for being here. Shout out to you, the family. See, there's enough carpenters to fill up a whole church or community or world. We'll talk about that. What's going on? The queen of the castle, Tiara Carpenter, is here. The beautiful wife of Hubert Carpenter. Tiara is she's an incredible lady. She really is. She's brilliant and sweet and elegant, and I don't know. I think very, very highly of her. So shout out to Miss Tiara Carpenter. Glad she is here today. She is my sister-in-law or sister or something. I don't know. Whatever. Here we go. What's up, Christina? My cousin is here. Christina Sanders. Shout out to her. Always jumping on. If she can catch us, she's gonna catch us wherever we're at, whatever shows we're doing. She's gonna be around. Shout out to her. So glad she's here. What's going on, Shantia Twin Johnson? What's up? Listen, it's enough carpenters to man, there's a lot of y'all, of us. I love y'all. I'm glad y'all here. What's up, Twin? And what's up, Shamar? What's going on? Shout out to the lovely Miss Shamar. My girl Shamar. She's another one who finds us wherever we are. She's in the Connecticut area, right? And but she finds us whenever we're on, wherever we are, whatever show we're doing. She don't care what kind of show, what it is. She like, I'm coming to find y'all. I'm gonna check y'all out. It shows so much love, Shamar. I got to get you back on the show, Shamar. We talk about that. We about to do this like next week or something, Shamar. I got to talk to you soon. We're gonna do this so next week or two. I got to have Shamar on. She does amazing things, from coaching one-on-one with people who are trying to get their lives together to now professional business coaching, to so many other things. Just a powerful, powerful person. I got great people around me. I love everybody. Mom is in the building. Miss Carrie Carpenter. She is the mother of the Carpenter clan, the grandmother and the great-grandmother now. But she is, you guys know I started this show after the loss of my mother, Miss Vivian Rosetta Tyndale. And Miss Carrie Carpenter has been someone who has been a mother to me so much of, like, most of my life. Even when my mother was here, my mother trusted her as another woman in the community, another woman in the village, I want to say, as a mother figure to me. And she treated me like her child. And I think I'm going to tell you about these Carpenters, because they loved me, they fed me, they cared for me, and they corrected me. They didn't just let me be wild and do whatever. They corrected me just like they corrected their children. And when you love somebody, you help them grow and you correct them. And they always did that for me. So shout out to all the Carpenter clan. I'm super excited again to be here with you guys. If you guys haven't shared the broadcast, please share the broadcast. Hope you guys enjoyed that intro music. We threw a little something on. I am so excited to be back here doing Lucas Live. We are going to continue to do this. Now, you guys may have seen and may know that I travel a lot now, doing business training and keynotes and speaking and other things. And I was like, how do I start the show again when I'm always flying? Half the time I feel like I'm in the air and that plane Wi-Fi ain't right. You know what I mean? You got, like, it ain't right. But I was like, how do I do it? And I just decided I'm going to figure it out. Okay. So you guys are going to bear with me. I know you guys will. I may be on different nights of the week. I may do one show a week. I may do a couple some weeks. I may pop up on a Friday or a Saturday or a Thursday or a Tuesday or whatever it is. But I just asked you guys stay tuned. I always, try to post something to let you know when we're going to go on. And I hope you guys just jump on and share and show some love. We thank you guys so much for following us for the last 3 years. If you guys remember, I started this in April of 2020, and I just hit go live. And what I was doing was, I knew that I was supposed to go live after my mother passed. And I had this thought: go live, go live. Like, I needed to go live. I needed to not let my life come and go and not have shown the world all the wonderful things that my mother put inside of me, all the things that I've learned over the years, all the blessings that I've had over the years. So I hit go live. I didn't know what I was doing. I got this little extra bedroom in my basement, and I just had a little light on and a couple little buttons, a little basic camera, and I was just figuring it out. And over time, I got better. I didn't know much about interviewing. I didn't know any of this, how to run the technology, microphones, cameras, soundboards. But over time, I learned, I studied, and I applied myself to this thing. And this is one of my greatest joys. I one day want to be known worldwide as someone who hosts great shows and events. And you guys will be saying, I remember when he started online with that Lucas Live. It was called Lucas Tyndale Live once. But I mean, I didn't even know what to call the show. I was asking the first few episodes, what do you guys think I should call it, right? What should it be? And you guys jumped in. You got Lucas Live has a good ring to it. Just take out the Tyndale and just call it Lucas Live. And we did it. We made a logo. We built Lucas Live Media. Lucas Live Media was born out of this, a whole media company now. And people are working with us, and we're now streaming the Canton McKinley home football games, and now the girls and boys varsity basketball games are streaming at Lucas Live Media. If you have not liked and followed our page on Facebook and YouTube, please do so. We also have our website, lucaslivemedia.com, which we are working on right now to make some updates and do some things to make that even better for you guys. So super, super excited to be here. Thank you guys again for jumping on. Please feel free to comment, talk, ask questions. Whatever you like in the comments, please engage this show. This is interactive. We want you guys to be a part of everything we do. So thank you guys so much. Had no experience. You had a natural talent. Thank you. I had no clue when I started working with you. That I know. Yeah, Amanda, who went to media school. I didn't know. I didn't know what I was doing. She didn't know I didn't know what I was doing. But it worked out. I appreciate the help. Thank you so much. Thank you for being here. Taylora, we're glad to have you. Thank you guys. All right, keep jumping in, keep commenting. Let's have some fun. let's get to it today. Thank you, Kareem Marie. She's clapping for me. I could hear her clapping because I knew what she was thinking. She's thinking he's boldly telling the world who he is and who he's going to be. How do you introduce yourself to the world, ladies and gentlemen? Who do you want the world to know you as? Be bold, be brave, figure it out on the inside, and then you can show it on the outside. It's an exciting new season. Not just a new season of Lucas Live, it's an exciting new season of life. So thank you all so much for the love and support. Kareem, thank you so much. I could hear your thoughts when I saw your clap. I knew what you were thinking. You were thinking that, right? Tell me I'm right. Okay, thanks. All right, very good. All right, let's roll. It's time for me to introduce my guest for the next 45 minutes, 50 minutes. We got about an hour here. He is, again, my longest running friend. We've been friends since fifth grade. He has been a great friend to me. My son just said to me the other day, he was comparing his friendship with some of his friends to my friendship with Hubert Carpenter, who is going to be on today. And he was talking to me about how good of a friend Hubert, we call him Hube, y'all know him as Hube, how good of a friend he was to me. And my son is 18. How does my son know how good of a friend Hube has been to me for the last 30 years? He knows it because I've told him over and over what a real friend looks like by pointing to my friendship with Hube. And I always told him, I said, when I was younger, Hube was a better friend to me than I was to him. And that's a rare thing to say because I've always been the friend's friend. I've always been the one who cared about everybody, was there for everybody through their problems and stuff. But he was a friend that was really there for me. And he didn't even, I don't even know if he knew what he was doing or if he knew, like, he wasn't like, I had a strategy, like Luke is going through some stuff. My dad had gone to prison. I don't think he had a whole strategy. He was just being who he was. He was just being himself and it changed my life. So I want to introduce to you to some of you and welcome back to many of you, my great friend, Mr. Pastor Hubert Carpenter. Good evening, my friend. How are you today?
Luke T, my man. What's
My
up, bro? How
man.
you doing, man?
Man, I'm doing good, man. You know what's funny? I almost teared up a little bit there, my man. Like I was struggling a little bit
Hey,
there.
I'm lightweight, tearing up just listening to you, bro. Just it's amazing, man. Over the years,
Man, it's when I don't think I told you this, but I like the young Luke. He calls my kids call him Uncle Hube. This is Uncle Hube to them, and he
right,
said he was talking to me about him and his friends, and he was saying how he was being there for his friends, and he said like Uncle Hube was always there for you. And I was like, that's beautiful that you know that you realize who Uncle Hube is and that he was somebody who was always there for me. And we've been there for each other over the years, I think, as we've grown. But man, I don't know if you
right,
know, man. I just want to thank you and your family. I was going through a lot, a lot, a lot. You saw it happen. My dad was home when we first became friends, and I
right.
just lived around the corner, and you know, my life may have looked more put together than your life, and but over the years things just started to deteriorate and you and your family were always there for me, man. So I just want to say thank you and I love you and I really appreciate you,
Love you, bro. Love you, bro.
man. It means a lot. So, all right. So let's get started, man. We just gonna talk, and this is what we do here on Lucas Live. And I always tell the guests, don't feel anything. Like we just talk here at Lucas Live. We just have a conversation. We just happen to go live and have the conversation in front of people. And me and him have had more conversation than anybody I could think of. So this is just normally what we do. So I want to start with I want to start maybe and end with the idea of making an impact in the community. Um, you're somebody who like in front of the scenes because you're there at bigger events, and behind the scenes because you're there at things like food banks and funerals and community, whatever it is, you do your best to get out and support the communities that you're involved in. Can you tell me, number one, what all communities are you mainly involved in? Because it's not just one, or what cities maybe. And then, why is community involvement such a big part of your life?
Uh, I'm mainly I'm mainly involved in an Akron community right now, but that'll be soon to change.
Yeah.
I work for Akron Public Schools, and I've been working with Akron Public Schools for about the past. This is my eighth school year, and
Wow.
so I'm I'm walking the halls with kids that are getting killed.
Mm,
I'm walking the halls with kids who have done killings,
wow.
and so it's I just feel the need to reach out to these families of both parties. You know, if you've been involved in it, or if you're the, you know, if you gotten killed. So I try to reach out to the families, and I try to be there for them because uh, I am I'm Hubert. You know, the kids call me Carp, but they also know that I'm a pastor,
Yeah.
and just had a kid, a kid got killed a couple weeks ago,
Wow.
and all of my students was like, "Hey, Carp, are you going to do the funeral?"
Mm.
I'm like, you know, I reached out to the family, so my kids, they know I'm a pastor, they know I'm a preacher, so you know, they expect me to be there for them. They expect me to be there for their friends when they have to go through tragedy.
Yes.
So you know, I've been I've mostly been a part of the Akron community for the past several years, but I was a part of the Kent community. Let me give a shout out to Kenton because you
Okay.
know
All right. Come on.
I
Go
give
ahead. We'll give
I
you a
give
second. Go ahead.
I give Kenton a hard time with me graduating from Massillon. I give Kenton a hard time, but let me say this: I was born and raised in Kenton,
Okay.
and
The truth
I,
revealed here today, ladies and gentlemen. Motivation can't know how. Keep going. Keep going.
yeah, man. So you know, I was born and raised in Kenton. I pastored. I was fortunate enough to pastor in Kenton. I pastored the Mount Pleasant Baptist Church in Kenton for 7 years. So you know, we did a lot of community service in the city of Kenton. We fed a lot of people. I did a lot of marching. I sat in the mayor's office. I met with the Kenton police chief. So, you know, in my 7 years of being in Kenton, I put in some work, and it's all by the grace of God that I was able to do everything that I did in Kenton.
Yes.
But that season has passed,
Okay,
and
okay. No, hold on. Let's pause in the Canton season for a second. Let's not
yes,
skip
sir.
through Canton now. Hold on. We met in Canton, Ohio, Clarendon Elementary. All right, Clarendon the beginning, Clarendon the new. I don't remember. There was alma mater. We had a whole song and everything. We was the Cobras or something. The Clarendon
Yeah,
Cobras.
The
Miss
Cobras,
Wilgus. Shout out to
the
Miss
Cobras.
Wilgus.
Yes,
Miss Sharon Wilgus. She was one of them teachers that was like real pretty, and you was young. Like, is it
yeah,
me or is our teacher pretty? Like,
yeah.
it was like, did you notice? Like, I think I noticed. I don't know, but like fifth grade is when you really start to pay attention. By sixth
Yeah,
grade, you really know. Middle school,
you
you
know,
done figured out life.
you know, it's crazy. She my Facebook friend, and it's crazy because she's always encouraging me. Even now, she was my fifth grade teacher. She's always encouraging me, even now on Facebook. So I think that's crazy that you know my fifth grade teacher, one of my favorite teachers,
Yes,
is still encouraged me. And let me, while we talk about educators, let me give a shout out to Stephanie Patrick.
yes,
Um, I wouldn't be the man I am if it wasn't for Miss Patrick.
yeah.
Miss Patrick was my principal at Allen Elementary for 4 years, and she taught me some valuable lessons. Actually, I just talked to her this past week.
Okay.
I'll be helping her out. I'll be helping her out when the Martin Luther King breakfast, January 16th. So I did speak to her this past week. So I want to give a shout out to Stephanie Patrick because I wouldn't be who I am today if it weren't for Stephanie Patrick. She was a major influence in Hubert Carpenter's life.
I love it. Shout out to Miss Patrick and to Stephanie Patrick Elementary. They named Allen Elementary, where you knew her
That's right.
from, is
That's right.
now Stephanie Patrick Elementary.
That's right.
Stephanie Russian Patrick, I believe it is elementary.
Yeah.
I mean, what an amazing thing. My family, my brother, my mother, they grew up in that area, and then you know Miss Patrick was just such a big part of the community. So shout out to her. Shout out to Miss Wilgus as well, who was a teacher at Clarendon for many years. I'm not sure if she's still there. Again, still encouraging myself as well, still encouraging us and letting us know that she is proud of us as we continue to go. Shout out to Christina. She's throwing up the alma mater for Clarendon. I think she always remembers Clarendon the beginning, Clarendon the early years, learning skills for tomorrow, building
Wow.
futures today. Let's go. Shout out to Clarendon and to all the children and all the teachers and all the principals still there at Clarendon Elementary. Shout out to them still today. So your wife is on here. She's laughing. I don't know if she's laughing because We shouting out our teacher who was kind of fine back
Yeah.
in the day, or Miss Patrick. Brandon said she only was your favorite teacher because she was fine. Well, no, she was a great educator. All right, calm down. She was a great educator. She was a great educator. Miss Patrick, again, making a big difference in the community. Somebody I have to have on. I had the pleasure at Lucas Live Media of doing her. I was there. We were there for the ribbon cutting of the school,
Mhm.
and then they did an event for her down at the DoubleTree here in Canton, Ohio. So, shout out to her and to every and all the impact. And so, I love what you're saying there. You're speaking to the impact of community leaders that came before you. And I'm asking you about you as a community leader, and you're saying, wait a minute, there's people who paved the way for me. There's people who, starting in Canton, paved the way for me from Allen Elementary throughout. So, Canton, Ohio, I know for you, and you tease people, and people tease you, especially week 10, your Master
Yeah.
McKinley week. You may be the most well known person during Master McKinley week on both sides. And what people don't know, though, is while people are teasing you and you're teasing people, and people are making there's so much love for you here in Canton and in Massillon and in Akron now. I mean, it's amazing that people, it's no hard feelings, there's no animosity. It's all love. And if you guys see our overlay here today, you can see a blueprint because what we're talking about today really is a blueprint for how to build community, a blueprint for how to make an impact in whatever community you're in because he now lives in the Akron community and has been there for several years and is making an impact in that community. He also has I always say he is a Massillon Tiger. He talked to you about his Canton roots, but Massillon was also an intricate part of your life. Let's talk about that a little bit because people don't know. You just shout out Miss Patrick. They're like, how's he know Miss Patrick and Clarendon and Allen and Lehman and McKinley? I mean, that's where I got to know you from. We grew up together there. But Massillon was always a part of it. I would come to your mother's house, Miss Carrie Carpenter. Shout out to Miss Carrie Lee, and we would hang out. And we would also go over to Massillon to your father's house. Big O, we called him. Shout out to Deacon Odell Carpenter, who is not with us physically, but his spirit lives on, and he certainly lives in us. Talk to us a little bit about, okay, Canton guy, Massillon, you have this deep Massillon love and this love for the Massillon community. What's up with that? Like, talk to the people. Like, you just said you spent all these years in Canton. Why this extreme love for Massillon? Because it's not just a little bit. You are that guy. What is it?
Well, growing up, my mother, my mom, she was in Canton, and my father stayed in Massillon, Big O. Everybody knew about Big O's house, very popular house on 1122 South Erie Street, and so I spent it was about 50-50, but Massillon, football town, small town, quiet town, and very lovable people. Massillon, I end up I was at Kansas City schools uh, most of my life. I was in Kansas
Mm-hmm.
City schools most of my life,
Right.
and if you remember, I transferred to Massillon the end of my freshman year.
Yep.
That was the end of my freshman year.
That's where that football
So
picture comes from. Our freshman year. I always say,
yeah,
I can't. I said, Hugh, we playing football. I had moved to
yeah,
Hartford, and then I came. I was over there in the summer all the time. I was like, man, we got to play football. I just wanted to play.
yeah.
He was like, okay. And shout out to Tasha. Tasha's here right now. We rode our bikes from Carrie Lee's house up to McKinley for all those workouts, all those
Yeah,
practices. Our legs was all beat up from working out, and we would still have to ride that bike a couple
never
miles.
never played tackle football in my life.
Neither had I. Neither
Right,
had I till our freshman
right,
year at McKinley. And
right.
here we go at
Yeah,
football camp. So shout out to Tasha. Tasha, I don't know if you remember, but I took your bike. It was your bike that got me
yep,
back and forth. He took his
yep.
bike, made me ride her bike. You know, it had a couple. It was a little purple and pink, I think. But whatever. You know, I did what I had to do to get to football. Those were the days. So yeah, so we went and we played football at McKinley. So you into your freshman year, you move in with your dad in Massillon. Now you were there all the time. It wasn't new to be in Massillon. You knew everybody in Massillon.
Right,
We went to church in Massillon.
right.
Most of my church upbringing was in Massillon with you. So continue the story. So into your freshman year, you moved to Massillon.
Yeah, moved to Massillon and end up going to Massillon, playing sports and playing ball and stuff, and just enjoying Massillon. That was the best time of my life being at high school in Massillon. End up graduating Massillon and shortly after graduation, you know, start preaching time. You
Yeah.
know, started preaching at 19. You preached your first sermon in August of
Yes.
2001, and I preached my sermon November 26th of 2001.
Yes,
So
sir.
that's more than half my life I've been preaching. I've been preaching 21 years. And I'm 40 years old, so I've been preaching, over half my life.
That's deep.
So preaching is all I know. I mean, I
Yeah.
love sports. I love sports to death, but my life has been church. My life has been preaching. My
Yeah.
parents, I thank God for my parents because they kept me in the church.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that's the problem. I believe that's a problem that's missing with this generation right now is that they don't have no I'm not going to even say church upbringing because it's not all about the church building.
Okay.
It's a spiritual. Our children they're not spiritual. Their parents are not introducing them to whatever it is that they believe in.
Yeah.
And so that's a major problem right now is that God is missing. God is
Yeah.
missing from this generation.
Right.
I thank God for the preachers that paved the way before me. Pastor Raymond Mason,
Yeah.
who was my first pastor.
Yeah.
Who licensed me growing up. Reverend Ralph Harris, Dr.
Right.
Walker Arrington, who I was working with today doing the funeral, and all them old guys.
Yeah.
Pastor Warren Shavers.
Yeah.
So man, them all them guys, I watched them guys put in work in the community.
Yes.
Pastor Shavers, he was major in the city of Canton.
Yeah.
When I was pastoring Mount Pleasant, and I was doing a lot of work. Um, it meant a lot to me because Pastor Shavers, his wife, Lady Adrian Shaver, she sent me a message. And in her message, it said, "Pastor Carpenter, you remind me so much of my husband.
Mm.
What you're doing in the community, what you're doing in the city of Canton, to be mentioned in the same sentence as Warren P. Shavers is absolutely crazy."
Wow.
That's
Legendary.
so I give all honor to those old preachers that paved the way. Pastor Lightborn at Mount Calvary
Mm.
Second Baptist Church,
Yeah.
Pastor Stoudemire, Pastor George Dunwoody at St. Mark. I grew up
Right.
watching all them guys. Man, they paved the way for me. I watched them put in work throughout the community because pastoring is not about it. Pastoring is about church, but there's much more to pastoring than the church building. Uh,
Yeah.
what let's see you go beyond the church. Let's see you go in a community because you got some pastors that's scared to go into the communities.
Right. I love that. And to me that's so big. And you and I have always talked about our spiritual journey. And our spiritual journey started in church. But
Right,
somehow, for both of us, and in different ways, we realized the church itself, the building, number one, the building ain't the church, because you can have people gather in the name of the Lord anywhere and call it a
right,
church. So clearly it's not the building with a cross or a steeple. That ain't it, right? And that was never meant to be the church. The people were supposed to be representing God, and to know that it's so much more, because when people make it just about church, there's people who don't feel comfortable, who don't know what to do. They're like, I don't know how to clap and when to stand and when to sing, and how many offerings y'all got anyway. You know what I mean? Like, should I bring
hmm
$2 or $3? You know what I mean? Like,
right,
how many offerings is it? What is tithing? What is that? People don't know, and people aren't educated. They're just expected to go know how to function in a culture. Like, church has its own culture, and then there's the African American church and this church and the white church, and then there's all the denominations of church. So This church, they jump up and shout. And this church, they sit and they're very quiet in reverence of the Lord. And this church is somewhere in the middle. And people don't even know how to function. And they're trying to find God amongst American traditional norms. Like half this stuff is just our cultural norms. Like,
Yeah.
and
Right.
that's, and people don't know how to function. And they're losing God because they're trying to go through this funnel that maybe they don't understand. So I love what you do. You have a lot of young people, and we'll talk a little bit about the city of Akron here in a minute. Like you said, at the school, they don't know you from a church building. The only time most of them may have ever seen you in a church, unfortunately, was at a funeral.
Funeral. Yes,
but
sir.
they know you as a representation of God, right?
Yeah.
Like God is bigger than a building. Like God was bigger. God is bigger than the world. He created it. It's like a Lego building to him. It's something he formed and put together and made it. And he's like, so you guys took your Legos and then you made buildings, and now you made the building bigger than me, right? Now you made even the world to make the world bigger than God. He's like, you guys make everything. You worship the creation more than the creator. So I know God has a desire for us to get outside of the walls, and this is something you've done. Like you said, you've always been out there, whether it's sitting at a sports game watching some of these young people who now, when you look at these young people who are playing for Massillon or McKinley or whatever, these were baby. Like we knew some of these children when they were babies, and now they're out there on the field. So to have that kind of impact and to realize church has its place in the community, but we can't hope that everybody's going to come into the place. And meanwhile, they're dying in the street. We never go out there and help them. We just like, come in here. We like open the door, like, it's safe in here. Come in here. And they're like, what are you doing there? Like, we sing a bunch of songs and we dance. And they're like, I don't know what you're talking about. And they never come in. So you're a person who goes out. You said there are people who are afraid to go out into the community. What does that look like to you? And we're going to talk in a minute about a new beginning that you're starting in your life. And that's I think a perfect word for it. And I love the name New Beginnings. When you think about future you're 40 years old now. You've been doing ministry half your life. What do you see for the future of ministry in the world? And what do you see for the future of ministry for you?
Ministry has changed tremendously. Church as we know it is not the same no more. Growing up in church, we would spend hours in church service. We would spend hours. The preacher would probably preach about 45 minutes to an hour, and them days are over with. Just times have changed. I believe the COVID-19 pandemic, it really took a toll on the church, but the Bible says what the devil meant for evil, God meant it for the good. So even though the COVID-19 pandemic was, that we can look at that as something evil, but God he turned that thing around and worked it out for the good, because now church as we know it, most churches, we're in church for an hour. We're in church for an hour. It don't take all of that to be in church, because here's the thing, Luke. Why be in church for hours if you're not affecting or touching somebody? I would rather spend my
Okay.
time. I would rather spend my time outside the church building, because now now is the time. It's imperative that the church will go to the people.
Mm-hmm.
And all my life, I've seen churches waiting for the people to come to them.
Right.
Um, and in my ministry and all my years, and especially pastoring Mount Pleasant, there was Sundays where Mount Pleasant is right in the middle of the hood.
Literally.
Uh, there was Sundays where I would be out at Victory Square,
Yep.
shootings at Victory Square. I've seen big fights on Victory Square. So I would be outside at Victory Square, just standing before service and just talking to people, trying to get them to come to church. That was me. That's me taking the church to the people,
Yeah.
because you can't expect folk to come to church now.
Yeah.
You can't. Those days are over. Uh, the Bible says in Matthew 27, it says, "Go."
Yeah.
It don't say stay. It says, "Go ye." It don't say stay. So my ministry, even now, we'll talk about the new ministry here shortly. But even now, my biggest thing, and one of the things that I'll be teaching my people, is that we're not going to be complacent and staying inside the church building.
Mm,
We have to go outside them doors to bring the church to the people, because
I love that.
folk out there are hurting.
Yeah,
They need to know that, they need to know that there is a God. They need to know that God is still in the blessing business.
I love that. I absolutely love that. It's funny. These are conversations, you guys, that he and I have regularly. These are just our normal conversations, and it's real. We knew it when we were young. I mean, it was a different time, and we were a generation removed from our parents' generation. Like my dad and them had to go to church. Like they was about
Mhm.
to get whooped if they didn't go to church. Now your parents were more old school, so they were still raising us like that, right? So
Mhm.
they was like, you better get up that hill. All I remember, I always tell people, stand at your dad's house. Staying at Big O's. Big O would get up. He drove the church van too. You
Yeah.
get up early enough, you get on that church van. You don't get on that church van,
Mhm.
you better start walking up that hill. He
That's
lived
right.
down the hill from Friendship
That's right.
Baptist Church, and we better be walking. I'd be like, you man, he ain't gonna know. Like we can stay here and play the game. We play. People don't remember NBA Live. Shout out to the
Yeah.
NBA Live
Yeah.
days
Yes,
before
sir.
2K. All right, all y'all. You see, y'all 2K was new in 2K in 2000. We was playing games before them. We was playing NBA, EA Sports, NBA Live, and Madden and Game
Hmm.
Day. Remember Game Day
Right.
for
Yeah. Oh
PlayStation?
man, you taking it back.
Game Day, Game Day '98. I think had Jerome Bettis on there, and all you
Yeah.
had to do
Yeah.
was keep
Yeah, man.
spinning, and could nobody
Yeah.
tackle you.
Yeah, man.
Those was the days. We played a lot of
Yeah.
video games. Shout out to our guy Sterling Mason,
Birthday
Marcus
today.
Berger Williams, uh, Leon, the crew. I mean, a lot of Montel
Yeah.
Williams used to hang out with us. A lot of our great friends. We grew up there. We played games all night, but we knew we had to get up and go to church. So we realize that, as you said, things have changed, and people can say they've changed for the better or worse. But I think at the end of the day, God is like, it was never about people just wanting to come into something. You're living your life. To God, there's no separation of church and state. God does not believe you're at work, so don't talk about me. You're at sports, don't say nothing. God is like, no, I should be a part of everything you do. We are to
Right.
bring heaven on earth, right? We
That's right.
say, Thy kingdom come, Thy will be done
Will
on
be
earth
done
as it is in heaven.
to
But
heaven.
we're
Hmm.
waiting to go to heaven, and God is like, I'm waiting on y'all to bring heaven. You're doing it backwards. Stop
That's
trying to
major.
die. He said, I'm the God of the living. If I'm the God of the living, why is everybody waiting to die? And if you're waiting to die, why didn't everybody want to die? You don't really want to die. So that must mean I'm the God of the living. I want to be there in life. I want to be a part of your life. I want to be a part of your work. I want to be a part of you in the schools. Um, Hugh, you walk in the schools in the city of Akron. You've been in some of the roughest schools there in the city of Akron. And you are, you don't have to gather all the students in the auditorium and say, all right, sit down and turn to the scripture. You live it out. And so they're getting to know God because they're getting to know you. Jesus said, if you saw my Father, you saw me. That's what we should be able to say. If we're Christ like, we should be able to say, if you see me, I act like my Father in heaven. You've seen it. They know God because they know you, because you've taken it in everything you do. You're not waiting. Now, having a place for people to gather and build community and learn more about how to go back out is a good thing too. So now you're positioning yourself to be able to train more people up to go back out and do what they do in everything they do. Let's talk about um something new that you have going on. I don't want to let this go, and we do have a little more time, but you have something new going on, and I want to make sure that we don't fail to talk about it. A new beginning is coming in your life. Can you talk to the people a little bit about what's brewing in your life right now?
Massillon, Stark County, it's about to go down. It's about to go down. This Sunday, at 12 p.m. Will be the launch. Will be the initial service of the New Beginnings Baptist Church. This this
That's
this
good.
church was I, what happened was I've been out. I've been out of pastoring for about 3 years since I left Mount Pleasant.
Wow.
And let me give a shout out. Let me give a shout out to my big brother, my mentor, my father in ministry, Dr. Booker Person of the Greater Bethel Baptist Church. Dr. Person, he took me up under his wing in my toughest years of ministry.
Mm.
There was a time where I, I Carpenter, I wanted to quit preaching. I wanted to stop. Uh, Depression. I was depressed, and I had went through a lot with the church, and so Luke, I was man, I was ready to just stop preaching. I was ready to quit the ministry. I ain't want to have nothing to do with church. But
Yeah.
Dr. Booker Person, he took me up under his wing. Dr. Book, he's one of the he's a nationally known preacher. He's been preaching for 50 years, and he's only 60 years old. So he's been preaching all of his life. So he took me up under his wing and spent many days in his office in tears, crying.
Mm.
Give a shout out to his wife, Dr. Vicky Person. Both of them, they um, they both they both spoke life to me.
Mhm.
They spoke life into me. So I'm so grateful for both of them for speaking life into me. So I've been with the Persons in Greater Bethel for the past 3 years, and they've built me up. I'm excited because the Persons are going to be with me this Sunday.
Wow.
So yeah, we're having church. We're having church in Akron on Saturday.
Okay.
We're having our watch night service on Saturday afternoon at 12 p.m. I'll be one of the preachers there, and so we're having service on Saturday, and they'll be joining with me on Sunday at New Beginnings Baptist Church at 12. So I'm so that really just made my day to have both of them along with the church family to be there, being supportive of my ministry because they meant so much to me, and so I'm just so grateful for both of them. So the fast forward the New Beginnings.
Yes.
I had we had a death in our family.
Mhm.
Had a death in our family. My big cousin, my first cousin, Chandra Faye passed away. Rest in heaven, Chandra Faye. We
Mhm.
love you, miss you. She passed away,
Mhm.
and um, we was at our home church at Friendship, and the whole side full of carpenters.
Y'all could feel
Friendship
them.
is a big church.
Yes. Yes.
The whole side is full of carpenters,
Right.
and my wife. She initially said something to me. Give a shout out to my wife,
Yes.
Tierra. She's on live right now. She was the first person. She said, Hubert, have you thought about starting your own church yet?
Mm.
'Cause, Luke, I was the type I never wanted to start my own church. I always
Okay.
wanted to go into a situation that's already together,
Established. And yeah.
established and stuff. So I never wanted to start my own church, and my wife she mentioned it to me, and I kind of brushed it off, and so
Mhm.
we had my cousin's funeral, and just got done preaching her funeral and stuff, and my cousin Mika called me. So Mika, she called me.
Mhm.
She's like, "Hey, cuz, I think the time is now." She's like, we got our family big enough to where you could start your own church.
Mhm.
And so that's the second person that said something to me.
Right.
So that very next day, my big cousin Greg, who's the oldest carpenter male alive. That's the oldest carpenter male alive
Is
right
that
now.
right?
Yeah, Greg is the
Wow.
oldest carpenter male alive. So Greg,
Wow.
he called me. He called me the next day. Uh, hey, cuz, the time is now, cuz we are looking for a church home, and we want you to be our pastor.
Wow.
So I said okay. So first thing I do is I call my pastor, Pastor Person,
Mhm.
and he said Carpenter, I want you to pray. I want you to pray for 7 days, and I want you to pray that the Lord would seek the Lord, and I promise you, he will give you your answer. So I went into a prayer. I went into a prayer for several days. I prayed about it, and I clearly heard the Lord say, "Now is your time."
Mm.
And talking to the wife. We having conversation, just talking to the wife, and she said, Hubert, what about new beginning? This is going to be a new beginning for you. How about
Wow.
the name of New Beginnings Baptist Church? I said, you know what, Tier, you a genius.
Let's go.
You a genius. Let's get it. So that's how we got the name New Beginnings Baptist Church. My wife, she said, you know what, Hubert, this going to be a new beginning for you, a new beginning for your ministry
Hmm.
and stuff. So what about the name New Beginning? So that's how we came up with the name New Beginning. We've been meeting for the last couple months, and we got everything set, and we looking forward to having church on this coming Sunday, our first initial Sunday. Actually, we're going. Our first service is actually on Saturday, because we're baptizing 3 people on Saturday at the Massillon YMCA. So our first service is really Saturday.
That's
So I look forward to baptizing my first 3 people as the pastor of the New Beginnings Baptist Church. So we're just excited, man.
amazing.
God is putting some people directly in our paths. My family has been so supportive. Hey man, starting a church, it takes a lot of money, man. It takes a lot of
Yeah.
finances.
Yeah.
And man, my family has been so supportive. Every time we need something, everybody is going into the pockets. It's not just me going into my pockets. Everybody has been going into their pockets, just being a blessing to the New Beginnings Baptist Church, man. And so God has brought some people down our paths. I just one of my a couple I married several years ago.
Mm.
Gentleman, he called me yesterday. He has his own business. He's going to be a major blessing to our church. So God is
Wow.
sending some people our way. That's going to be a blessing to us, man. So I'm just in awe right now what God is doing, because I never thought that I would start my own church. And
Right.
this is historic for the city of Massillon, man. So there's no place I'd rather be than be in my city, Massillon.
I love it. Coming home to Massillon, Ohio to meet and support the needs not only of your family, but of those out there who need a place to go to learn, to grow, to get to know who God is and what God is asking us all to do. I'm proud of you for stepping out there. I think life is a journey, right? And it's a process that we're going through. And so often we get stuck, afraid to go forward, right? And we see the story in the Bible over and over of people who were like, God was calling them to do something. They're like, is there another plan, God? How
Yeah.
else could we do this? I don't really, I don't really want to be that person, right? Joseph didn't want to go to Potiphar's
Nope.
house. Moses
Nope.
didn't want to go to
Nope.
Egypt. The people didn't.
Nope.
People are often afraid, and we're thinking, who am I to do a thing? And God is saying, who are you not to do the thing, right?
That's
Like
right.
we're
That's right.
often afraid, stuck in the paralysis of analysis. To anybody else out there watching, I hope you're inspired to do what you're called to do, whatever that is, right? Everybody thinks ministry is only in the church. It's important for people to know that's like the huddle. That's like practice. That's like where we come together to learn. Like that's not the game. Life is the game.
Right.
Life is where we really have to go live it out. And but a part of your life is being a leader in this area, to be somebody who can pull people together and help them know that there is hope and there is life and there is light. And God sent Jesus into this world to be an example for us, not to be, not to, we're like, Jesus paid it all. And so many people are sitting down saying, it's already paid for. Instead of saying, well, if somebody paid for something, shouldn't I take what they invested in me and go be
Yeah.
something and do something with it? Shouldn't I, if I'm supposed to be Christ like or like, shouldn't I work in my life to be more like that? Or should I keep looking in awe and being like, oh, Jesus was a great person and let's just worship what he did and never do it? He said, I came to be your example. Like, I'm the blueprint. We have a blueprint
That's
on
right.
here today. I'm
That's right.
trace my life and do what
Yeah.
I did. Greater work you will do. You guys can do more than I did. And we wonder if we can start a church. Of course you can. You can. There's nothing you can't do, right? So I'm
Right.
so proud of you for your willingness to just live, to just try, to just go forward, to just do what you're being called to do fearlessly. And I know there's days where there's probably a little fear, but when I say fearlessly, I mean you're not letting fear stop you from doing what you know you're going to do. Great question just came up. Christina said, where will you be located? Where will the church be located if people want to come join or be with you guys? Where are you guys going to be at currently?
Currently, our first service we're going to be at 1711 16th Street in Massillon. That is the Lillian P. Bean Community Center. We're going to be at the Lillian P. Bean Center. Shout out to them. Major blessing. They're not going to crack our head as far as finances. Real affordable, and so we're going to be there our first 3 months, and we're going to step out on faith and trust and believe that once our 3 months is over, that hopefully we'll have our own building so that we can start moving into our building. So that's where we'll be at. We'll be at the Lillian P. Bean Center, 1711 16th Street, southeast in the Massillon southeast side of town. So that's where we'll be at our first 3 months. We'll be at the Lillian P. Bean Center.
That's in a community center in the community. I
Community.
mean, it just makes sense, right? Like
Community.
this was God's idea. He's like, these places should be places for the community, places for people to gather, places for people to join. Hubert, I hadn't told you this, but I will be there. I will be there on
Wow.
Sunday. I'm excited to see you and to cheer you on, and that's what it's about for me. Like I said, you and I talk a lot about our spiritual journeys and how they've weaved and how they've gone in and out. There's been moments where it's like we're talking differently about different things, and then it weaves back in and weaves back. But at the end of the day, we're always aligned in the fact that we know we were called to serve God. Your
Yeah.
dad, Big O, called it many years ago that he was going to have a preacher and a teacher.
Hmm.
And you were the preacher and I was the teacher. And while I may teach in a ministry format at times, even in business, I'm a teacher. That's what I do.
Right.
Working with
That's right.
children, I'm a teacher. That's
That's
what I
right.
do. It's the same. When I go into corporate environments, I may not say all the things, all the terminology of God, but I'm saying all the things of God because all things are God's.
That's right.
Like God owns it all. So there's nothing I can say. If I can tell you about love, joy, peace, patience, goodness, and I can say it to you in a business format, those are still the fruits of the Spirit, even if
That's right.
I said it to you in a different way. So it's been such a blessing to carry this out as we start to wind down. I'd like for you to talk about a few people. One, I'd like for you to talk about the impact of your wife on your life. You said she's the one who came up with the name New Beginnings.
Major.
She is she is such a powerful person. I remember the day I met her. I was like, this girl is different. I was like, she is a force, and yet she's such a great supporter, right? She could be something all by herself, like and she is, right, all by herself. Here's a whole movement all by herself, and yet
Listen.
she's such a strong, loving supporter of you. Talk to me a little bit about Tierra, and then I want to hear a little bit about your mother and your father as we wrap this thing up. So talk
Uh,
to me about those three people: your lovely wife Tierra, your wonderful mother Miss Carrie Lee, and then last but not least Big O, and the impact all three of them have had on your life.
well, let me first start off with my parents. I say the best for last.
Okay.
That being my wife.
Yes.
My parents, they major influence. Like as I said earlier, they're the ones that kept me in the church. I come from a strict household. Um, my mother was strict. My father, he wasn't Big O. He wasn't as strict. He was an over the road truck driver and stuff. So he wasn't as strict. But my mom, she was strict. She's one of them no nonsense parents, and even now, watching her with the grandkids, she's still strict.
Okay.
Uh, I,
That don't
so we
usually
didn't.
last. I love
You
that
know,
she's still doing it.
so we didn't argue many times about her being too strict on these grandkids and stuff. So she's still strict. And so I thank God for my mother because my mother, she's the one person. I could say this about Janelle too. Those two, they and all my siblings. But when you see Carrie Lee, you'll always see Janelle right there beside her. But and I always call Janelle my second mother. I always call her my
Yep.
second mother.
Uh-huh.
So Janelle and Carrie Lee, they've been there with me my whole 21 years of ministry.
Yes.
They seen the ups, they seen the downs,
Mhm.
and so So I thank God for I thank God for mom because she's still around. She's still
Yes.
around. So if you have a mother, make sure you cherish your mother
Yeah.
because um, a lot of people even out during the holiday season, a lot of death. I seen just looking at various Facebook posts. There was somebody's mother who passed away yesterday.
Mm.
So I'm certainly grateful that I still have my mother, and she's still one of my biggest fans.
Yeah.
And so Big O, words can't even explain the impact that Big O has had on my life. I'm living life trying to be half the man that
Mm.
he was.
Yeah.
Big O. That's why I'm such a giving person. That's why I'm community driven because I've seen the work that my father did. I've seen the work. Before my one of my dad's biggest accomplishments was he was the Teamsters local. He was the Democrat of the Year.
Mm.
That was one of his biggest accomplishments. So,
Mm.
in order to achieve that, you have to do stuff in your community. So, my dad, he was community driven, and I know, I know that if he was here physically,
Yeah.
he would be proud. He would be proud of the
Yeah.
work that I've done,
Yes.
and I still haven't amount to half the man that Odell Carpenter was. So
Yes.
shout out to my parents. If there was no Carolee or Odell, there would be no Hubert Moore Carpenter. So I'm so grateful for both of my parents. Tierre Marie, the former Tierre Marie Melton, who is by far my biggest fan. She's my biggest supporter. Uh, Shout out to Tierre for even putting up with me. I I, I would have left me a long time ago, and
Ah!
she still puts up with me.
Right.
Uh, I believe that God made her. God made her just for me. Um, we're a perfect tag team. Um, Even though I'm a preacher, um, I'm quiet in nature.
Yeah.
I'm
Yep.
real quiet.
Right.
Uh, my wife, she's outspoken.
Yes.
She talks a lot. She's outspoken.
Yes.
Where I'm weak, she's strong,
Yeah.
and where she's weak, I'm strong.
Right.
Um, One of the hardest jobs for a woman being married to a preacher is being a pastor's wife.
Mm.
Um, the enemy, um, the devil will attack a pastor's house, will attack a pastor's marriage harder than he would the normal person
Mm.
because I have a higher calling on my life, and the devil knows that if he can divide me and my wife, that then he has done something major. And so the devil has constantly um, thrown his darts, and we are still standing.
Yes.
We're still standing. Being married to a pastor is hard.
Uh,
Uh, Tierra has to she has to hear my whining and complaining about me dealing with church folk. She has to hold me when I'm coming home crying for dealing with church folks. She has to listen to everything that I have to go to. She's the first person I go to. I tell her everything. I tell her everything, and so shout out to Tierra because she's very supportive. Without a shadow of a doubt, she's my biggest fan by far.
that's
Uh,
amazing.
my top three supporters will always my wife will be number one, and then my mom and Janelle, those three. And shout out to my whole family, man. My whole family has been very supportive of my ministry. My whole 21 years, my whole family has been supportive. The Carpenters on my dad's side, and the Edwards, Davenports, that's on my mother's side. On both sides of my family, I have a huge family, man.
Right.
My mom's side, my dad's side, and my mom's side. I have a huge family. Both sides are humongous,
Uh,
and they've all been supportive of me. In my 21 years of ministry, they all been supportive of me. So shout out to my dad's side and shout out to my mom's side because they're I love all of my family to death, and I thank God for them. So shout out to my wife Tier, mom Janelle, all my siblings, all of them. I love them all. Janelle, Ann, Al, Casey, to all of them.
I
I
love
love
it.
them all.
I love it. I love it.
And
Well, Hugh,
I think. Let me, can I get a shout out? I think
yes.
my mother-in-law, and my father-in-law. I think they are online too. Let me give a shout out to Laura and Robert, because without them, I wouldn't have Tier.
All right. All
So,
right.
so,
They did
so, so,
something.
I,
They
so yeah, they did something major. So
they did something
shout out to
major.
them. And Robert, my father-in-law, man, that's the best man I've ever met in my whole life,
What a
man.
great guy.
He's major, man. I love Robert Melton to death, man. That's my guy. We do a whole lot together, man. We do a lot of traveling and driving and stuff and watching games and stuff together, man. So Robert Melton is that's my right hand man. I love Robert to death.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Well, Hugh, I love you. I appreciate you. I'm proud of you. Thank you for coming on my show to share your life and your journey. Um, I, I can't tell you enough what it means to see you continue to go and grow, and be everything that I know God has called you to be so boldly you, to care so much about people in the community, to be so open to so many people of all walks of life. I've never seen you turn your nose up at anybody, and always open to learn. And even for myself, as I've gone through my journey of life, you're always somebody I can call and never feel judged or never feel anything. I'm like, man, I was thinking about this or dealing with that, and you're like, "Well, let's talk about it. Or how you feeling? Are you okay, my man? Or I know what that's like. Or just absolutely the biggest heart of a person I've ever met, to have known you since fifth grade. Um, you've been the best friend a person could ask for, and I just am so grateful for you. And I thank you for being here today. I will see you at New Beginnings Baptist Church this Sunday at noon at the Lillian Bean Center there in Massillon, Ohio. I can't wait. Thank you so much, my man. I really
Thank you,
appreciate
bro.
you.
Hey, man, I love you, man. You are the man. We are my prayers that God will continue to take you to that higher level. You're doing great things, and you're going to be nationally known here soon. I'm speaking that to existence for you. You're about to be major, bro. And I'm so glad to not only call you my closest friend, but to call you my brother, man. I love you.
Yes.
I love you, man. I love you, bro.
Thank you so much. Thank you guys for joining us here on Lucas Live. We are kicking off a new season here with my best friend, Hubert Carpenter. Shout out to everybody who was on. Thank you, family and friends. Check us out. We'll be on tomorrow night again. Wonderful guest, Christian Turner, owner of Fourth and Belden. She does photography. She's working with the prosecutor's office. She's helping people learn how to protect their children online, on social media, against all this madness. We're going to talk about how we can do that tomorrow. She also has this beautiful little girl who is such a light and so much joy. We're going to talk to her about what it's like to be the parent of such a wonderful young lady as well. She has so much that she's going to bring to the show tomorrow. Can't wait to talk to her. It's exciting to be kicking off a new season. Shout out to all the fans and supporters of Lucas Live. Thank you guys for following me on my journey as I follow you on yours. Everybody, have a great night.